All right, so to get started, I just want to talk about the simplest versions of filters that we encounter almost every day when we're working with audio. I just want to talk about simple high and low pass filters. So I have this tune here. Let's just take a quick listen to where it's at. All right, cool. So this is a fairly raw sounding track at the moment, and that's sort of what I'm going for. What we're going to do is just grab a parametric EQ. Now, Logic has a built-in one. Any DAW that you use has a built-in one that has filters on the top and bottom, okay? We also have many other types of filter plugins. One that I see every day, because I bounce around between so many different DAWs, I really like to use the FabFilter Pro Q. It's a very powerful yet very simple and easy to use parametric equalizer that happens to have filter shapes. Now, this is very similar to all of the parametric EQs that you have seen in your DAW, except that in Pro Q3 there isn't a fixed number of bands. So I thought it would be nice to just goof around with Pro Q because it's just easier on the eyes. So I've instantiated a filter band here. All right. This is called a low pass filter. Now, each filter that we work with is going to have a few different settings, but the most important one is frequency. Okay. Frequency is left to right here. A low pass filter or high cut, these terms are interchangeable, is going to attenuate frequencies that are above the cutoff frequency. Okay, I say attenuate and not remove because, as you can see, there's sort of a slope. Filters aren't really straight up and down. It's not just blocking everything. Filters sound sort of strange when they're straight up and down, and we can get very, very steep. But brick wall filters that are sort of vertical aren't really a thing that we use. So we have our frequency. We can move our frequency around. I can do it by adjusting this dial here. So let's just listen to what happens to the whole track as I pull the frequency of the low pass filter down. Now, with the frequency all the way up of a low pass filter, we're basically letting everything pass through. There is some attenuation up at the very top of the spectrum, but at the beginning, we're not going to hear much of this effect at all. So let's listen. Okay, so what you heard is that we were removing the top end of the frequency spectrum. And as I moved that cutoff frequency, we were losing more and more of it. Now, if we flip it around, so I'm going to change this to a low cut or high pass filter. It's a very similar thing. It's the mirror image. We are attenuating frequencies below the cutoff frequency and passing frequencies above, mostly. By the way, with almost all filters, the point at which the cutoff frequency is does have some attenuation, but we're in the ballpark. You don't really need to get bogged down in those sorts of details. So if I put this all the way down, we're at 10 hertz right now, and as you can see, as we get up toward 20, we still have some attenuation, but this shouldn't make too big of a difference. Let's start to push this frequency band up, and you'll hear what I mean. All right, there you have it. So cutoff frequency is the main parameter for any filter. With a low cut or high pass filter, we are attenuating what's below the cutoff. With a low pass or high cut filter, we are attenuating what's above the cutoff frequency. Another setting that we have is the Q, typically also referred to as the resonance. What this does is it gives us a little bump at or around the cutoff frequency so we can sort of emphasize that frequency. I'm going to push the Q a little bit, and as I pull the cutoff frequency down, you're going to hear that there's more resonance, that the movement of the filter is emphasized. That Q comes in very handy. We also have our slope. This adjusts the severity or the steepness of the cutoff. You see, we do have a brick wall setting, but this is it still has a little slant to it. Don't worry about that so much. We're going to be sticking in the 6 to, I would say, 36 dB or 48 dB per octave range. All that this refers to, the poles or the slope of the filter, is how many decibels of reduction per octave as we go across the frequency spectrum are we getting. So 48 is steeper than 6, for example. All of these parameters together make filters extremely, extremely useful, not only for simple mixing and sort of like cleanup stuff, but also for really cool extreme sound design. So let's get into it.